Good evening, everyone. Mayor, I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Elmwood Park Mayor and Council for Wednesday, November 10th, 2021, to order at 7 o'clock p.m. On roll call, Council members Ballesteri.
Here.
Fakori.
Here.
Fasolo.
Here.
Golubek.
Here.
Pellegrin.
Here.
Council President Wechsler.
Here.
Mayor Coletti.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's nice to see we have a nice little small audience here this evening. We've got a lot of nice things in store. We're going to be celebrating two different things. So why don't we get started? Everyone, please rise for a prayer and flag salute. Oh God, our Father, we ask you to bless our meeting, which we can entrust to your fatherly care and protection. Please remove all selfishness and prejudice from our hearts and implant therein a keen sense of justice and a greater love for you and our neighbor. Guide us in our deliberations so that our decisions will always please you and bring your peace and happiness to our community. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Whereas Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of the State of New Jersey require at the commencement of every meeting a statement of compliance be read by the presiding officer. Now, therefore, be advised that the meeting requirements for this meeting have been met by publishing an annual notice in the Record and Herald News of Woodland Park and by posting such notice in the office of the Borough Clerk, as well as in a public place within the municipal building and by notifying interested citizens. Notice was posted on January 8th, 2021 and published on January 13th, 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is being videotaped and will be on Cablevision Channel 77 on Monday at 3 p.m. and Thursdays at 11 a.m. The video will also be available on the Borough website at www.elmwoodparknj.us. Sinead?
For approval of meeting minutes this evening, we have August 19th, 2021 executive session, September 2nd, 2021 work session, September 2nd, 2021 executive session, September 9th, 2021 work session, September 9th, 2021 executive session, September 16th, 2021 regular meeting, September 16th, 2021 executive session, and September 21st, 2021 special meeting.
Motion on the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Council members, roll call, we have Council members Ballesteri.
I recuse on September 21st special meeting, and yes on the rest.
Okay, Fakori.
Yes.
Fasolo.
I'm going to recuse on the August 19th executive session. Yes to the rest.
Okay, Golubek.
Yes.
Pellegrin.
I recuse from September 2nd work and executive session. Yes to the rest.
Okay, Council President Wechsler.
Yes.
Okay. Next, Mayor, at this time, I would like to call Mr. David Boone from the Fairlawn VFW for a special presentation.
Okay, thank you. Let me preface this moment by simply saying that about a year and a half ago, this mayor and council unanimously agreed to build a statue for our Vietnam War Memorial. And at that point, we also had decided that we were not going to ask taxpayers to fund this, and we were going to make an attempt to fund this with outside sources and so on, businesses and so on. We've been pretty successful to this date. When Mr. Boone, who is the head of the VFW in Fairlawn, was in the procedure of merging with the Elmwood Park VFW, heard about what we were going to do, he got so excited, and he's going to show us how excited he's got.
It's our pleasure to be here tonight, and we are just the newly merged William J. Mulligan, VFW Post 281. So the number changes because we were the earlier post from 5084, but we kept William Mulligan because he was our longtime commander here at Elmwood Park. And we're really looking forward to serving both towns, and we're really excited about it. And when the mayor told me about the statue, I'm immediately, being a veteran, it means a lot, and having Vietnam veterans in my family, we lost one cousin during the war, so that means a lot. And when I went back to my members of the Post and said, this is what they need, what do you think we can do? The small amount of $10,000 came up immediately. And so tonight, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to present to you and to the Borough of Elmwood Park a check for $10,000. Just so you don't forget, and I was just down in Washington, D.C., and I visited all of the memorials down there on the mall, but I want you to put this on your desk and remind yourself every day, this is what we're doing, this is our goal.
Oh, wow.
We look forward to serving both of our towns. We have a lot of veterans in both towns. We're dealing with some of our issues because tomorrow we have services in Fairlawn and also in Elmwood Park at the same time. But we're divvying up the responsibilities, and already it's working really well, and we really look forward to being here.
I'd like to take a picture with the whole council, if you, and all of us together. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Sure. Who's going to take the picture?
Jeff.
You didn't know I was taking a picture.
Council, you want to come forward? All right, we got everybody in there? Sinead, come on.
Maureen, I'll take pictures.
Where do you keep it? Hopefully you only get money. Behind me, Marlene? Don't get my back. It's not great. I got it. All right.
Thank you so much.
We also have the last living Revolutionary War soldier in the United States, was on my mom's side, from Ohio.
Around some copyright issues. Around some copyright issues.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, just so it gets on the tape, Mr. Boone is actually a direct descendant of Daniel Boone. So I thought that would be an interesting historical fact for all people that love history. And history had Daniel Boone in as though he was a god, so I could see you following his footsteps. Thank you very much. We're going to get this thing done, we're going to get it done right, and all together we're going to get it done.
Mayor, you can now proceed with your presentation to the Spinato family on behalf of Salvatore Spinato.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as you know from the past, we love to honor our veterans. We had to stop because of COVID-19. We're getting back on the roll again. We have a gentleman that's kind of unique that we will be honoring this evening. He not only was a veteran, but he also did an awful lot for the community. And here's some of the things that we noted that he did. He grew up in Elmwood Park. He was the last elected tax collector of Elmwood Park. He worked for the town for 45 years. He was very dedicated to Elmwood Park and its citizens. He was involved in many activities with the town, including organizing the Golden Jubilee. He raised money for charity, including St. Joseph Orphanage in Rockley, New Jersey. On his own time and without payment of any kind, would organize a dance to raise money for the orphans, often having many famous celebrities and sports figures such as Connie Francis, Yogi Berra, and Jack LaMotta. He was a World War II veteran. He enlisted in the Army in 1942, trained at Fort Riley, Kansas as a horseman for the cavalry. Now let's picture that. This is 1942, and we still got a cavalry. And I want to say to his relatives that are here with us this evening, my grandfather in 1917 was at Fort Riley, Kansas also, and also was a cavalryman. So we got a little in common. I guess once the training was done, he was sent to Bermuda to fight the Japanese army. He helped keep and maintain the Burma Road clear and free from the Japanese invasion. Now, for some of you that don't know about the Burma Road, the Chinese were an ally of us during World War II. Japanese were fighting them from one side. We had to get supplies from Europe over to the Chinese, who were our allies at the time, and there was no roadway that it was feasible to travel on. So I guess it was a joint venture between American forces and English forces. They built this road that became known as the Burma Road. And with the opening of that road, it freed up supplies that can get to the Chinese so that the Japanese would be fighting on two fronts, the front with us and the front from the Chinese. He was honorably discharged in 1944 as first-class private. Respectfully, Robert Spinato. Who's here tonight to receive the award? Would you please come up? The Mayor and Council of Elmwood Park would like to recognize Salvatore Spinato for his many years of outstanding dedicated service to our borough and our country. His contribution and devotion is very much appreciated by us and our community. On this 10th day of November 2021, we honor and thank him for his services. Your name, sir?
Robert Spinato.
Robert. We generally found out about the man, his life, in kind of a scenario nutshell. But tell us what it was your dad, right?
Yes.
Tell us what your dad was like one-on-one.
My dad, you know, people have fathers. My dad was a dad. He was always there for me. This has been a long time coming for my father. My dad did do a lot of stuff for this town, and he loved Elmwood Park. Even after he moved away, he came back, there was a parade, and he was in the parade. I don't know what celebration was for, I don't remember, but he came back just to be in that parade. Elmwood Park was very important to him. And
Probably was Memorial Day parade.
it might have been a Memorial Day parade, but Elmwood Park was always very important to my dad.
I love history. I love war stories. My father, I couldn't stop my father from talking about war stories, World War II. But my grandfather, he didn't want to talk about World War I. Did your father have any stories?
He never really told me about, you know, what he saw or anything, I guess because I was too young. So I guess he really needs, I know maybe he told my brother Mike, I don't know.
Where's Mike?
And he, right there.
Michael, can you elaborate a little bit? Hold on, I gotta get to you, so it's,
He really didn't speak too much about the war today. He was proud of the service, of course, and he brought home a lot of memorabilia, so we have a lot of things. We still have his uniform at home, so we've preserved all that. We have some other things. I have a knapsack and his boots and things like that.
now there was a... On the horse. Now, when they were doing the Bremer Road, they were using horses there?
Yeah, I'll tell you the truth. I didn't speak a lot about that, but I would tell you this: that I know he was all of about 100 and, if he was 120, it was a lot. He was about 5'4". Went overseas. Talked about getting sick on the boat going through. He had malaria.
That's what I was gonna ask you.
Yeah.
Was there malaria?
Yeah, he had malaria as well. So, and actually, he was rejected the first time he was trying to apply. And as the war went on, he changed the name, and you'll see outside it has two N's. Well, my father changed it to one N, and it became Spinato. That's what we go by. And that's how he got into the war. And he was actually Joe Spinato, quite honestly. His name was Sal. He hated Salvatore, to tell you the truth. He loved Sal only. So, but he went in as Joe Spinato to get in.
And a little bit about the man, father to son?
Always a great dad to us. Participated, he coached Little League. I remember that. His first time running for office was when John Kennedy ran for office, 1960. He won that one. He started what became the United Democratic Club. There was a infighting within the Democratic Party, and he became...
Usually there is.
Yeah.
And the Republican Party too.
So what they did is they formed the new company, the new club, and he won with his group, and then he won again in '64
And that was in this town?
in this town.
So there's some people here that belong to the Democratic Club, and that you can thank his father for the existence of it.
Well, yeah, he actually was. He told a lot of stories about that, and we knew about it. I was about at 1960. I was 6 years old, but I loved participating, and I know Lorraine, and I know her family, and I know my dad was very close with Lorraine's dad through the years. So it was, but it was great. We grew up in this town. This is where we lived on Grove Street for most of our lives. So
We've celebrated about, maybe, would you say 6 over the years, veterans? And this one, like I said up front, is kind of unique because of what your dad did when he came back home.
Right.
After what his sacrifice during the war.
Yes.
So I know he's shining down on both of you right now.
Yep.
And he's a happy kid.
Well, one other good thing is that he also had a cleaning store on Grove Street. So right next to the firehouse where we lived, a two-family house, and the bottom floor was his cleaners. And that's what he did. And then he got into politics. He was on the Board of Adjustment here back in the 50s. He bartended at Steve Pantano's restaurant just over the railroad tracks for many years. We got a lovely picture of Rocky Marciano.
Jake LaMotto too?
Jake LaMotto came to the dinners. My father got all the celebrities to come to the dinners. Her dad was very instrumental in bringing it. They got it up to 1,000 people at one point to come. He was raising a tremendous amount of money. Yeah.
I forgot to say one thing.
Towards the mic.
Everybody know Joe Torre was at the dinner.
Joe Torre?
Joe Torre, the manager of the Yankees. He was still a ball player. I think he was playing for the Giants at the time. And he was at one of the
You knew
dinners.
the
We actually
players?
have a picture of my dad with Joe Torre. Very young Joe Torre.
He knew the players for sure. Well, I want to thank you very much. Thank you for the information. And
Thanks for honoring me.
no problem. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, my pleasure. You guys want to take a picture?
Yeah, definitely. Fine.
pushing me to the end. I get no respect.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Ladies and gentlemen, just stay for another minute or two, please. We're going to have the...
Sandy's seat. Move over one.
I'll just move to the mayor's.
That was Sandy. That was a good one.
Did I get in my glasses?
Now you can go, you can skip over me now.
Sorry, Sam.
No, don't be sorry. It's like,
On both issues, we're going to have each council person talk on both issues. Start, Mr. Fasola.
Tell them not to leave.
Yeah, please don't leave. Just wait, because... Just hold on a second. Okay.
First, I'd like to start off by thanking Mr. Boone and the entire VFW organization for their extremely generous donation. It's truly a testament to the dedication you have for this community and for our veterans. A little history, as a history teacher, I think this is really special for the Vietnam veterans in particular because not a lot of people know that they didn't receive the heroic welcome back that the World War II veterans had received. So I think it's very nice that we're doing that for our Vietnam veterans in particular. Next, for Mr. Spinato. Mr. Spinato is the best example of the dedication and impact that our veterans have on our community. They all bring communities together under the same message of love of country. I'd like to share my favorite quote for veterans. It was stated by President Truman. Our debt to the heroic men and valiant women in the service of our country can never be repaid. They have earned our undying gratitude, and America will never forget their sacrifices. Thank you.
I'd like to thank the Fairlawn Commander, David Boone, for joining the Elmwood Park VFW. Welcome to our family, really. It's great. You have a great family here in Elmwood Park, and I know together with everybody, with Terry and all the gentlemen, they'll be fantastic. And for their $10,000 check for our statue. Second, Mr. Spinato's family, I'd like to thank you for his service. Let me tell you, there's nobody else that our vets came home to that they should be honored every moment of the day, because what they sacrificed for us to be here today, and they're not, it's one miracle. And he came back to East Patterson. I was born and raised in East Patterson, and that's where he came back to. And he'll always be remembered in all of our hearts. And I thank you very much for sharing him with us. Thank you.
First, I'd like to thank David Boone for the merge with us. This was a very touching moment this evening for that generous donation. I know we all appreciate it dearly. And also to Mr. Spinato, his contribution is just outstanding to Elmwood Park. I was just amazed by everything that the mayor had read off of all the different things, 45 years working here. Thank you. Thank you to his family. Thank you all for coming here and sharing his life with us. Thank you, Mayor.
Very well said.
Thank you, Mayor. To the VFW, we wish you a lot of success in your merger. Whatever we can do to help support, get you guys, thriving and everything. And we thank you for the donation. It's a wonderful initiative. I'm looking forward to it coming together. A lot of generous sponsors, so that's a wonderful thing. To the Spinato family, thank you for sharing this time with us. As like a political history nerd, especially Elmwood Park-wise, there's a link on the Bergen County Clerk's website where you can go look at election results going back to the 30s, and I've done that before. And I saw that we used to elect a tax collector, and it was just something interesting that stayed in the back of my mind. And to have all these dots connected tonight, I mean, he was one of us, essentially, many, many years ago. So that was wonderful. I think it's great that we did it, so I thank everyone that put together tonight. This meeting is off to a great start.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to congratulate the VFW and the merger. Mr. Boone, I know he left, but thanks for your generosity. To the Spinato family, congratulations tonight. I'm sure your dad is looking down at all of us and saying, wow, it's amazing. Thank you again for sharing this moment with us. Thank you.
Yes, first I'd like to thank Commander David Boone and the Fairlawn VFW members, along with the Elmwood Park VFW members, for all their generosity tonight. It's because of the generosity of so many we'll be able to construct the Vietnam Memorial to honor and remember our service members. I thank you all for such a beautiful gesture tonight. To the Spinato family, tonight we honor and remember Mr. Salvatore Spinato for his service to our great country and to our community. This is a proud moment for your entire family. I remember when your dad worked for the borough as tax collector. I remember his kindness and his laughter. On a personal note, your dad was a good friend of my dad, and I remember the years of friendship. It was truly my pleasure to honor your dad tonight and the memory of all he did for our country and our community. And I can't say enough how it touched my heart when I saw your dad's name on the agenda. Your dad and my dad weren't just casual friends. They were really, really like best friends. And I can remember as a young girl growing up, every time I saw them together, the laughter and love and friendship, it was just such a wonderful thing. And I will never forget those memories. And seeing you here tonight just warms my heart. And I know they're together up there. And it was really an honor to honor your dad tonight. Thank you.
Mayor, yes, the council has worked hard to support the VFW. We're excited for that merger. We want to see that organization thrive, and like the councilman said, anything we can do to assist, we're at your service here. Spinato family, awesome story. I love hearing history of Elmwood Park and former people that made this borough successful. Congratulations, and your dad's looking down on, he's having a happy moment right now in heaven. Thank you.
Mayor, I usually don't participate in acclamation, but I have to take this time to do it. Two reasons. One, with the VFW. I had very dear friends of mine who were drafted at the time for the Vietnam War. And at the time of the draft, my number came when they were calling the lotteries at that time, at 252. My buddies, two of my buddies, came at 52 and 51, and they were shipped out. Never came back. Two others also were shipped out. Came back, totally restored. And I always felt very bad for the people that came from the Vietnam, how they were treated here. And I couldn't understand it, because they gave up their life, they gave up a lot of their physical beings, emotional beings, their soul. They were treated like garbage. And it's time that this has happened, when you do a memorial for them. They deserve it. They deserve it just like any other veteran in this country. So that's a personal thing with me, with the veterans. I was never, unfortunately, and I feel at times missed out, but the luck would have it. I'm here. With regard to Mrs. Panada, I was in Garfield High School. I remember him. I literally remember him. In politics, because I was involved in high school politics. And at that time, Garfield, Elmwood Park, which comrades in anything that was going on. Very competitive, don't get me wrong, okay? But anytime there was help needed, the communities would all help each other. Okay? And I do remember, Mr. Spinato, that I was a soccer player. And I remember the activities here as well as the activities. So he was a man that I knew personally. I feel happy to see that he came.
Thank you, Sal. That was heartwarming, and just goes to show you how everybody, at one time or another, at that age, my age, his age, were touched by what had happened there in Vietnam, and those soldiers coming back home and being spit upon, to the point of where they didn't want to get off the plane with their uniforms on. Whereas years before, when World War II veterans came home, they were proud. For 2 weeks, they would wear their uniforms, and proud and walk around the town, then eventually get to their civvies. But the Vietnam soldier did not have that, and that's what we're going to rectify, and that's why we need to raise more money to make this thing happen very quickly. We're going to take a short break, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Okay, Mayor, I would like to reestablish a quorum. On roll call, we have council members Ballesteri. Here. Fakori. Here. Fasolo.
Here.
Golubek. Here. Pellegrin. Here. Council President Wechsler. Here. Mayor Coletti.
Here.
We have a quorum. Now we will have our CFO, Roy Riccitano, with the explanation of bond ratings.
Everyone hear me? So, about 12 years ago, I gave a presentation to the League of Municipalities in reference to pay-as-you-go, or do you bond a project? It was a 45-minute presentation to about 350 mayors and CFOs at the Tropicana. So I did look through my notes, and the final answer is it's your decision as a governing body. Majority rules whether you bond or whether you pay to play, pay to go. So there's two avenues of thought. When you do a bond ordinance, the bond ordinance that you're speaking about this evening is roads and infrastructure. So the useful life of that particular project is about 15 years. The argument for bonding is if you pay all that money up front today, or a portion thereof, is it fair to the homeowners today to pay out the 15 years of which the residents will get that, the actual benefit? The analogy I use, and it is a good analogy, is a fire truck. Fire truck has a useful life of 15 to 20 years. That fire truck is $1 million. So if you have $1 million in your pocket, do you pay it today in cash? Or do you spread it out over the useful life of the fire vehicle so that if it goes to a fire 20 years from now, the populace, or what we call ad valorem taxation, is equalized? In this particular case, it's really your decision what you prefer to do. It's unique, and that's why I appeared for you this evening, because it is one of the very first times that you will have in your hands money to pay down some of that debt. You also need to know that we do have, and we've been very successful in planning out our debt over the last 20, 25 years. I'm proud to say I was part of that process, and we continue to do that now. The bottom line is your debt ratio is 0.91. You don't get better in municipalities in Bergen County. Your bond rating continues to be A rating, AA1 rating. You don't get better other than Bergen County Treasury, which is AAA. You're equal to Franklin Lakes, you're equal to many other what we call affluent communities, but your bond rating is superb. So I have nothing negative about the bonds and you bonding it. The mayor brought up a point about, well, pay now because you have some of that money. And you do, but that's a council decision, not mine. And also, what is in the back of my mind with everyone who I've spoken to, next year, the goal is to get to close to zero as possible. The notice of how we spend this money only came out in late August, the American Rescue Plan. So that's why there was no advisement by me, by our auditor, until literally about a month or two ago. So you already had a first reading on this bond. Whether you proceed or not, that's majority rules in bond ratings. And in an ordinance, it would be 2/3 vote. I'm here to answer any questions you have. I hope I try to give you a brief overview of a 45-minute presentation, literally in a layman's terms. It's like a mortgage in your home. Do you want to pay that mortgage down now? Do you want to save the interest? Or do you want to keep that money for a rainy day? That's your decision, not mine.
I have a question. I called you and asked you some questions because I was concerned, and there were different conversations last week. So now I know you're saying it's majority's vote, it's how we feel. I get all that. But I would like, as the CFO, your professional opinion on the way you think we should go. I mean, this is not my expertise, it's yours. So, I always respect you and trust you. We always have great audits. You've been here 22 years. Just like if it was a police question, I would trust Chief Foligno on it. And so I'm going to you to ask you what's your professional opinion on what we should do with this.
My opinion would be to bond the project, and it's twofold. Number one, you already had a discussion weeks ago on this. But for me, to have that money paid down now, again, it's a political issue. It's not a financial issue. You all need to know that. But as your CFO, I've always managed the debt for you on a very conservative basis. You've done literally hundreds of ordinances over the years. We've been very fortunate that the debt that we issued, we usually get back many dollars in the form of community development grants, open space grants, and DOT grants. If things change after you do this bond, there's no foul if you want to pay down some of that debt earlier than later. The interest rate right now for a bond is 2% or less over 15 years. You hear the term free money, it is anything but the truth. It really is free money to borrow today. The notes, which I just did, and we're doing one December 3rd here, I'm estimating your 1-year rate to be as low as 0.2, 0.3%. It's astronomical, it's fantastic, and that's my reason behind it. The historic low rates that we're going to borrow this money on, and we have in the past paid down debt much more quicker than issuing debt. I sent out to Mike the actual debt this year, which is we're paying down about $1 million. Let me give you the real number. I put a lot of time into this. I wanted to make sure I gave you exactly the right information. So just this year alone, our principal we're paying down is $1,675,000, and you issued out roughly $1,500,000, $1,600,000. The caveat is you're also going to get some grant money back. So your net ratio is probably going to be about $1,100,000. I hope I answered your questions.
Yes, I just want to say, first of all, we appreciate you being here and taking the time out. But I do agree that this was a discussion more than once about a decision of the entire council to move forward with this. Now, unless Roy, to me, has seen a red flag and he came to us saying, this is not the way to go, then I think then that would be something I would sit and say, okay, because I also did call Roy myself as well, and I had questions for him. But I do agree that this is our decision, which is not to put it on Roy. And I still feel that I want to move forward the way the council had decided this.
Anybody else?
Yes, I agree Great too. Roy has our back all the time. He would never steer us wrong. He has helped us with everything 125%. So I think this council has spoken a number of times, discussed it a number of times. I think tonight we need to vote, and that's it. It's taken care of.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else care to speak?
Mayor, if I can, I'd like to thank Mr. Rigatano for his time tonight. I think we should take advantage of the historically low rates that we have going here tonight. And I think we could do a lot more great things for our residents by bonding the project and using the money from the rescue plan elsewhere.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? I have a few questions. We're getting $2 million from this relief grant.
Yes.
1 million in '22 and 1 million in '23,
21 and 22.
correct? And you and I had this discussion.
Yeah, it was this year and next year, Mayor.
Right. So it's actually 21 and 22.
Yes.
Now, in order to achieve a zero each and every year, you had estimated to me between $500,000 and $800,000.
That we would need to use potentially from the American Rescue Plan to get to zero. But all due respect, I did tell you it was an estimate at best.
Estimate, of course.
But I feel comfortable
Not
with
gonna
that
hold you.
number.
Okay,
I'm comfortable with it.
so let's take the high number. Let's take the 800, where it could be 600, and it could be 500, or it could be 800. Twice. For the 2 years, that's $1.6 million. If you deduct that from $2 million, you have $400,000. Now, here's my argument. Not to take away from the paving program or anything that we're doing, is where to place that money. I have two scenarios. One would be to pay down the bonding end of it. And then the other avenue I have, but I think would make us all feel very good, and probably be a first that has happened in, I don't know how many years, we take the $400,000 and we bring in a tax credit to the taxpayer, give him money back with the $400,000.
You cannot do that. Hear me out. Steve was here last meeting. You can't take that money and do direct property tax relief. You cannot do that, Mayor. I have no argument with your position of paying the bond ordinance down, but you cannot do that for property tax relief directly. Period. End of
Okay.
story. That's fact.
I got it. Okay, so now that brings me back to my first scenario, which nobody seems to like or understand. We have $400,000 that is going to be sitting there, and we're pretty much guaranteed zero tax increase in the next 2 years. So that's a credit to everybody. I'm saying take that $400,000, instead of let it sit in a bond somewhere, which we all know what's going to happen. We're all going to be looking for a project to get rid of that money. It always seems the way that kind of bonding money goes. So let's take the $400,000, and instead of bonding $1.4 million tonight between the two ordinances that are coming up, it'll be $1 million. Not taking anything away from any of the roads to be paved. It's just where to place that money. That's my contention. All right, do we want to take a vote from the council?
Of course. Yeah, are we going to follow the agenda? Let's follow the agenda.
I'm sorry?
Let's follow the agenda. I mean, the bond ordinances are in the agenda, no?
No, I want to take a vote on what I just said right now.
Mayor, we're so past that.
Oh, we are?
So past that.
Oh,
We beat the subject to death.
yeah.
There's
Okay.
two bond ordinances. If they pass, great. If not, that's okay. You want to veto, veto. Like, you know.
Okay, the great compromiser. Okay, let's move along.
Do we need to write any longer? Do we need to write any longer? No.
Thank you, everyone, and I will look forward to seeing you shortly. See you next week there, Councilman.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have ordinances for first reading. We have Resolution R-413-21, introduce ordinance 21-28, first reading. Whereas the public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending the Borough Code, Chapter 24, entitled Water, Section 24-4, subsection 24-4.4, entitled Exceptions, so as to include certain language creating a seasonable exception in subsection 24-4.6, entitled Enforcement, so as to designate other authorized borough officials to enforce this ordinance. Be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, December 16, 2021, at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter as same can be heard, at which time any persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and she is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Thank you. Just to break down this ordinance, we had a situation with the last major hurricane where we had mostly driveways that descend under the house, flooding situations, and these people were well equipped with French drains, and they also had a pump, a sump pump, but what was happening, the sump pump was taking the water from the garage or the basement and just bringing it right back outside onto the lawn. So it was an exercise in futility because that water just comes right back in, and you just stay there pumping the same water and your level never goes down. So in order to help these people out in a situation like that, where the only means they have to help themselves is to pump directly onto the street, so that water is not coming back into their process and is being eliminated. This ordinance here is going to allow that for, Michael, what is it, March 31st?
I believe it's March 31st to November 1st, Mayor?
October 31st, okay. And the reason that it's seasonal is because we don't want them discharging water on the streets while they're subject to low temperatures and freezing. So this is probably one of the better scenarios of working with our people and allowing them to have means to help themselves. May I have a motion on the ordinance?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
On roll call, we have council members Ballesteri,
Yes.
Fakori,
Yes.
Fasolo,
Yes.
Golubek,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Council President Wetchler.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, we have Resolution R-414-21, introduce ordinance 21-29, first reading. Whereas a public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to amend Ordinance 21-15, fixing the salary, wage, and compensation of the officers, employees, and servants of the Borough of Elmwood Park for the year 2021, be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, December 16, 2021, at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as same can be heard, at which time any persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and she is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Michael, would you break this down for us?
Yes, Mayor, this is an amendment to the salary ordinance for allow compensation for a special cannabis attorney for the borough.
Motion on the ordinance.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
On roll call, we have council members Ballesteri,
Yes.
Fakori,
Yes.
Fasolo,
Yes.
Golubek,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Council President Wetchler.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, we have Resolution R-415-21, introduce ordinance 21-30, first reading, whereas the public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to amend ordinance 21-15, fixing the salary, wage, and compensation of the officers, employees, and servants of the Borough of Elmwood Park for the year 2021, be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, December 16th, 2021 at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter as same can be heard, at which time any persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and she is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Michael, please break it down for us.
Mayor, another amendment to the salary ordinance adjusting the compensation for the tax collector who obtained her certification for that position.
Motion on the ordinance, please.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll.
On a roll call, we have Council Members Ballesteri,
Yes.
Fakori,
Yes.
Fasolo,
Yes.
Golubek,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Council President Wetchler.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, we have Resolution R-416-21, introduce ordinance 21-31, first reading, whereas the public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to amend ordinance 21-15, fixing the salary, wage, and compensation of the officers, employees, and servants of the Borough of Elmwood Park for the year 2021, be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, December 16th, 2021 at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as same can be heard, at which time any persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and she is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Michael, once again, please.
Yes, Mayor, this is also an amendment to the salary ordinance. The Recreation Director is receiving an education stipend as per borough policy.
Thank you. Motion on the ordinance?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
On roll call, we have Council Members Ballesteri,
Yes.
Fakori,
Yes.
Fasolo,
Yes.
Golubek,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Council President Wetchler.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, we have ordinances on second reading. Resolution R-417-21, reintroduce ordinance 21-17, second reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance by the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, amending Municipal Code 34-59.1, site plan review to include mandatory application to zoning board for review and approval of warehouse or storage facility construction encompassing 75,000 square feet of property or more, was reintroduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, September 16, 2021, at that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting, and whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given an opportunity to be heard on concerning the same. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance by the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, amending Municipal Code 34-59.1, site plan review to include mandatory application to zoning board for review and approval of warehouse or storage facility construction encompassing 75,000 square feet of property or more.
May I have a motion to open to the public? Anyone from the audience care to speak on this ordinance and this ordinance alone? If not, I'll close the public portion. Motion on the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
On a roll call, we have Council Members Ballesteri,
Yes.
Fakori,
Yes.
Fasolo,
Yes.
Golubek,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Council President Wetchler.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next is Resolution R-418-21, introduce ordinance 21-25, second reading, Whereas a public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled Bond Ordinance to Authorize the 2021 Curb and Gutter Replacement Program by and for the Borough of Elmwood Park and the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $325,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, October 21st, 2021, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given an opportunity to be heard concerning the same. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled Bond Ordinance to Authorize the 2021 Curb and Gutter Replacement Program by and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $325,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. Passed on final reading.
Motion to open to the public.
Second.
Anyone from the public here to speak on this ordinance? If not, I will close. Motion on the ordinance?
So moved.
Call the roll, please.
On the roll call, we have Council Members Ballestieri,
Yes.
Fakori,
Yes.
Fasolo,
Yes.
Golubek,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Council President Wetchler.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next on second reading, we have Resolution R-419-21, introduce ordinance 21-26, second reading. Whereas a public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance establishing a four-way stop at the intersections of East 54th Street and the following intersections: 16th Avenue, English Avenue, Lincoln Avenue, Gilbert Street, Lilliard's Lane, Main Street, and to amend Chapter 7 of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park titled Traffic, more specifically Section 7-21 titled Multi-Way Stop Intersections, was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, October 21st, 2021, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting, and whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given an opportunity to be heard concerning the same. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance establishing a four-way stop at the intersection of East 54th Street and the following intersections: 16th Avenue, English Avenue, Lincoln Avenue, Gilbert Street, Lilliard's Lane, Main Street, and to amend Chapter 7 of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park titled Traffic, more specifically Section 7-21 titled Multi-Way Stop Intersections. Pass on final reading.
Motion to open to the public.
Second.
Anyone from the public here to speak on this?
Jeffrey Freitag, 35 Hoover Drive.
Yes, Jeff, in the mic, please. We got it working, Jeff. Believe it or not.
Jeffrey Freitag, 35 Hillman Drive. Just a little correction. It's Main Avenue and it's Gilbert Avenue, not street. Both little streets.
What's the question?
No question. I'm just.
I'll make sure they get it right.
Yeah, that's.
I was aware of it, I just didn't want to,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I still don't know what that was all about.
It's Main Avenue and Gilbert Avenue, not Main Street and Gilbert Street.
Oh, he's a correction on the, thank you, Jeff. Anyone else care to speak on this ordinance and this ordinance alone? If not, I'll close the public portion. Motion on the ordinance.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
On roll call, we have Council Members Ballestieri,
Yes.
Fakori,
Yes.
Fasolo,
Yes.
Golubek,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Council President Wetchler.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, we have on second reading, Resolution R-420-21, introduced ordinance 21-27, second reading, whereas the public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled Bond Ordinance to Authorize the 2021 Road Resurfacing Program in, by, and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $1,020,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bonds, anticipation notes, in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, October 21st, 2021, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given an opportunity to be heard concerning the same. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled Bond Ordinance to Authorize the 2021 Road Resurfacing Program in, by, and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $1,020,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for those issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. Pass on final reading.
Motion to open to the public.
Second.
Anybody care to speak on this ordinance? If not, I will close the public portion. I would just like to make note that I am going to seriously think this over in the next couple of days. My gut right now is to veto this, but I do want to give it a clear thought pattern away from the dais here. So that's just for the record, to have that written into the record. Okay, motion on the ordinance.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
On roll call, we have council members Ballestieri,
Yes.
Fakori,
Yes.
Fasolo,
Yes.
Golubek,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Council President Wetchler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, Shanae, it's time for our consent agenda, huh?
Yes, for our,
You get to do a lot of reading here now.
I know.
Doing a good job.
Thanks. For our consent agenda this evening, we have the following resolutions. R-421-21, approval of payroll. R-422-21, approval of bills list. R-423-21, resolution to refund premium. R-424-21, approving settlement in the matter of Bolin versus Borough of Elmwood Park. R-425-21, authorizing the borough to enter into a shared service agreement with the City of Patterson Basic Life Support Emergency Medical Services, EMS/BLS. R-426-21, appoint part-time keyboarding clerk 1, Michael Giuliano, Finance Department. R-427-21, authorize vacation buyback. R-428-21, authorize building department refund. R-429-21, capital budget amendment. R-430-21, appointment of firefighter. R-431-21, authorizing the business administrator, the borough attorney, risk manager, Sakaro Group, and the Employee Association to review and consider the proposed dental and vision plan presented by the MetLife as presented by the Sakaro Group to replace the present dental and vision plan of the Borough of Elmwood Park. R-432-21, requesting permission for the dedication by rider for collation on affordable housing. R-433-21, approval of additional holiday. R-434-21, approval to renumber resolution. R-435-21, resolution to approve the consent agenda.
May I have a motion on the consent agenda?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor. I just want to address very quickly 42421, which is a settlement between the borough and someone else. Just to recap for those who will watch this, for those who are here, that was a claim of a former employee that the borough harassed them, intimidated them, put them in unimaginable hostile work environments and discriminated against them because they were a disabled veteran. If all those things were true, we'd be talking about $1 million plus settlements or judgments against the borough. The fact that this case was settled for $12,500 after 1 hour of mediation tells you everything you need to know about the claims and about our stance as to how we deal with these types of issues. In my opinion, the legal system, the judicial system, is a critical thing in our society. It is meant to bring justice about, to make things right, but it is not a toy for people to use to make others look bad or to make a quick buck. So I'm very proud of this entire mayor and council and all our professionals for all the behind-the-scenes groundwork we've laid, where we're in a position to make these things go away at no cost to the taxpayer, all coming out of the insurance carrier. So this is a message that in the borough of Elmwood Park, when we are presented with stuff like this, we will vigorously defend it and get to resolutions like this. So I'm proud of everyone involved. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else here to speak on discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
On roll call, we have council members Ballesteri,
Yes.
Fakori,
Yes.
Fasolo,
I'd like to recuse on R 430-21. Yes to the rest.
okay, Golubek,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Council President Wetchler,
Yes, I'd like to recuse on R 421-21 for my husband's check, and yes to the rest.
okay, thank you. Lastly, for departmental reports, we have the library board meeting minutes for September 20th, 2021.
Motion to accept?
Yes.
Need a second?
Second?
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
On roll call, we have council members Ballesteri,
Yes.
Fakori,
Yes.
Fasolo,
Yes.
Golubek,
Yes.
Pellegrin,
Yes.
Council President Wetchler.
Yes.
My turn.
Yes.
Council reports. Councilwoman Ballesteri?
Yes, okay, this past Saturday, Councilwoman Pellegrin and myself held Council Corner. We've resumed back to our gatherings now, every quarter. And I have to say, it was very productive, informal gathering with also Councilman Fakori attended and several residents came. And I'll tell you, everyone participated, everyone really enjoyed this informal, which is really great because many people don't want to come to a council meeting and maybe share ideas or have concerns, and this gives them the opportunity to come before us with anything they like to share, and it's just informal for 2 hours, and it was wonderful. So we're looking.
What did they, what was the topics?
Oh,
Or
let's
some
see.
of, some of their concerns?
No, I mean, they were spoke about how wonderful things have changed, some of the positive. They brought a couple of concerns maybe that we'll bring up to our BA as far as very small things, but it was just more discussion back and forth, nothing very serious or anything negative. And they shared a lot of their ideas of what they'd like to see. And it was just, like I said, it was just a very informal discussion. But so we do hope to have our next one sometime in February. So once we set the date, we'll share that with everyone. And in our recreation, we have a PTO and the recreation department are holding a father-daughter dance on December 2nd. And our basketball courts are now in renovation, so they will be closed at the Birchwood, Gall, and Barrow Field till further notice. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Fakori?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to congratulate Councilwoman-elect Tanisha Dennis. We worked hard together. just appreciate everything you did. So congratulations again. And I want to congratulate Councilwoman Terry Sheridan. And I also would like to thank my colleagues here and what I call friends for their hard work, their dedication, their energy. Just amazing. Councilman Dan Golombek, thank you again for all your hard work you do. Councilman Fasolo, just overall, everybody. But there is one person that I want to thank more than everybody else. Councilwoman Pellegrin. You've been a friend, a mentor. I just want to thank you for everything you do. Appreciate it. Councilwoman Doris, what can I say? I love you. Councilwoman Sandy, thank you for everything you did, and thank you for everything you do, and I appreciate everything you do. Mike, I can't thank you enough for all your hard work. Appreciate everything. Anytime I called you, man, you was taken care of right away. I appreciate it, and I still got your number. Thank you. Mr. Ingrafia, I can't say enough for your support, just every question I had, you answered it for me, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you again. To the people of Elmwood Park, I want to thank you for your votes. Appreciate everything you did. Just the overwhelming support that I got when I knocked on people's doors was amazing. So it means a lot to me. So I could tell you, I'm down, but I'm not out. I'm always around. I'm always volunteering my time. So everybody's got my number. Just appreciate everyone. So thank you again for everything. That's all I have to say, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilman, I just want you to know, you'll be here till January, so we got to...
I just wanted to say it before January, Mayor.
And also, I just want to make note that although it seems the results is as the councilman has said, and if it is, I do too congratulate, but it's not certified yet, so I'm sure it's going to end up the same way, but until it's certified, we don't know exactly the results there. Councilman Golombek.
Progress, Mayor. I'm going to save my comments for December.
Okay, Daniel. Councilwoman Pellegrin, please.
Yes, my police update. The Elmwood Park Police Department will be giving out 500 free turkeys for Thanksgiving to our Elmwood Park residents on a first-come, first-served basis. Date Saturday, November 20th, time 10 a.m., location Rec Center parking lot. This year's annual tree lighting ceremony will be held on Friday, December 3rd at 6:30 p.m. at the corner of Market Street and Mola Boulevard. The police department will be there with Santa and his elves to greet the children. Hot chocolate and hot pretzels will be available during the ceremony. Immediately following the ceremony, Santa and his team will be available inside the Recreation Center for photos. Mark your calendars for this very fun evening. My Board of Health update. Reminder, a free rabies clinic will be held on Wednesday, November 17th from 5 to 7 p.m. Location, Firehouse Number 4 on Mola Boulevard. Any questions, please call the Board of Health office at 201-796-1457, extension 604. Their next meeting will be Monday, December 13th at 7 p.m. Residents Assistance Program update. Leaf cleanup took place on Sunday, November 7th for Elmwood Park residents in need. A big thank you to the Azaz volunteers, Cub Scout Troop Number 8 volunteers, RAP Coordinator Angela Fava, Elmwood Park Police Department, Council President Doris Wechsler, Donna Valenci from Ramsey Graphics. The weather was beautiful and over 20 homes were taken care of that day. Feedback from our residents getting assistance that day was very positive. They appreciate all the help that they received. Also, on Monday, November 8th, the People's Pantry, sponsored by the Residents Assistance Program, gave out 120 free turkeys and breakfast in a bag to those in need. Thanks to the many volunteers who gave their time to help our community. Also, a big thank you to the Elmwood Park Police Department, Elmwood Park Fire Prevention, our Recreation Center team, and Angela Fava, thank you for all your hard work to make the day a success. Everyone was so appreciative to all that they received. Again, thanks for such a wonderful, amazing team of volunteers to help serve our residents. And I'm going to say something about the election. I want to just say, even though it's going to be certified on Monday, I want to congratulate those who won on the 2nd, as the results will be certified, as I said, on Monday. Our Board of Health, our Board of Education, Karen Pena, Keith Canizzo, George Luke. For council, Terry Sheridan and Tanisha Dennis. To those who fell short, thank you for putting your name in the hat. Most of us sitting up here have lost at one time or another. Keep trying and follow your passion. To Terry and Tanisha, I look forward to working with the both of you. Welcome to our team. This is hard for me. To my friend and colleague, Councilman Pecori, I want to thank you for all you brought to this council for the last few months. You truly gave it your all. Such a hard worker, a team player, and a kind soul, always wanting to make things better for our residents. I will truly miss working with you, but I know you will be back. Again, thank you for all you brought to this team. You are a remarkable person who truly cares about our community. Thank you for everything, Shakib.
Thank you.
Progress, Mayor.
Yes, Lorraine. Just like to comment on the turkey giveaway. I had the opportunity to be there with these volunteers, and Lorraine, once again, spearheading that organization, doing a hell of a job. Watching the faces of the people who were getting the free turkeys and the free other goodie bags, it was worth it. It was worth it, really was worth it. And also, Council President Doris Wechsler was there helping out also. And let's not forget, well, you know, where isn't he? Where is the chief not? So it should just be taken for granted that he was there. But we will make mention that he was there also. Great organization, great day, guys. Council President Wechsler.
What about Francesco?
What's it?
You missed him.
I didn't see him there. Were you there?
I've been here all meeting, Mayor.
Were you?
I've been here all meeting, yeah. Oh, no, I was not there.
Turkeys.
No. I thought you meant if was
I
I
thought
here.
you were making a turkey out of me.
Yeah. All right, so I'll start off
Oh, she did it again.
Who?
I called her and she.
But you didn't call him.
I have the
Maybe
option
you
to
want
go
to
in
save
any
me?
order. Any order I want to go in.
And he has the option to sit in any seat he wants.
If he wants to or not, right?
I tell you.
Lorraine, I'd like to thank you for Zaz too. I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong, for the students that came last Sunday for us. Zaz. They're fantastic, let me tell you. They went out, you gave them a list, they went out, they covered everything, and our Cub Scout groups, let me tell you, with the parents, they were fantastic. I mean, you couldn't ask them to do anything for us that they wouldn't do. They helped us with anything, clean up and everything after it, you know, and the ambulance corps. I'd like to thank Stephen Coaches and Cheryl. I don't know her last name, and I apologize. Michael, do you know her last name? I'm sorry?
Cheryl Asmussen.
Asmussen, I'm sorry, for coming to the homeowners meeting on Wednesday, October the 28th. Jeff, you were there, and you could tell it was fantastic. He's brought the smoke detectors, the carbon monoxide testers. He went through everything step by step. He talked for 2.5 hours to everybody. There was 12 senior citizens there that they were asking questions about what is this and what is that and how do you do this and how do you do that. One woman was concerned about going to buy new detectors, and Steve told her what to get, you know, this is what you'd recommend, and that if she had any problems, that he would come over to her house and install it for her, because he wanted to make sure everybody, you know, had the right way to do it. But I mean, the batteries, changing the batteries, how to explain everything, he was fantastic, and so was Cheryl. Let me tell you, I couldn't ask for a better presentation from either one of them. So my hats go up to both of them. I think they were fantastic. The library board, which I'm going to get hit by the mirror again. The contractor was there. He's gotten the list. He's been working. I'm going Friday, Mayor, if you'd like to meet me over there about 10 o'clock in the morning to see what's not done yet. We need inspections completed, and we need inspections updated. Progress.
Thank you. Best for last, Mr. Pasola.
I'd like to start by recognizing what the council did tonight on Resolution 433-21, approval of an additional holiday. Juneteenth is June 19th, 1865, when troops arrived in Galveston to take over the state of Texas and to ensure that all slaves be freed. It was 2 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, so I commend the council for recognizing that as a holiday. I just want to end off on something that the mayor had said toward the end of our vote there on the road program. I think it's unfortunate that our mayor would further delay vital improvements to infrastructure that we really, really need in this town by issuing a veto. Eventually, the council could override the veto, but it's just furthering delaying the vital improvements to drainage and curbing and roads that this town really, really needs. So other than that progress, I think it's very unfortunate.
Well, thank you for your opinion, but we're talking about the paving aspect, which doesn't come until next year. The curbing and the drainage work is going on. So, and that's my prerogative also, when I feel something is dead wrong, to enact on. And I guess I've said enough myself. Let's move along. May I have a motion to open the floor to the public?
Second.
Anyone from the public here to speak?
Jeffrey Freitag, 35 Hillman Drive. R42521, the shared services agreement. It's entered, the agreement is not put in place yet, correct? You're going to enter into one or negotiate with Patterson Police Department?
Mike,
Patterson Fire?
Everything's in place for signatures, and we're looking at a possible December 15th start date.
Okay. It's same amount of money or
It's,
approximately?
well, no, it's $10,000 a year more. However, the services that they're going to provide with standbys at all sporting events and community events, which Little Falls charged us for.
Right.
Patterson's going to give us, so basically it works out the same almost.
Now, they're going to use the borough's ambulances, or
Yeah.
they're being leased to them. Now, who pays any services or any?
They're required for all the maintenance,
Okay,
everything. Yep.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
it's verbatim, Jake. It's basically verbatim. What services we had are going to be carried on.
Except for sports and that, I know. Yeah, that's extra.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else care to speak? Yes, sir. Your name, please, and your address?
Edward Schbeglitz, 84 Summit Ave. Very, very minor item. Just because I have a multifamily home, on behalf of my tenants, a couple times this year, the recycling service has failed to come and collect on their designated day. Just wanted to get it in front of you, right? I've sent a couple emails, made a couple calls. Today is one of those days. They brought to my attention, so I come before you just to make a note of it, that whatever service we're using right now is really once or twice a year, again, just not showing up, but it's enough that the people who pay me rent, right, to live in this town, thought it necessary to bring it up in front of you, and that's it.
Just, so I got your email from one of the councilmen as I was sitting here, and I actually forwarded it to the recycling supervisor, and he responded, we've had some issues this year. Staffing is the main concern. It's the same company we've had for the past few years. So normally they're very good, but they're claiming that their staffing levels are challenging, so that's what's causing some of the misses. I gave him your information. He asked me to obtain your phone number, which I'm glad you came. He'd like to give you a call and discuss it with you. If when we're done here, if you can share your number with me, and I'll forward it to the supervisor there, if that's okay with you.
I appreciate it, yes.
Okay. Yep.
The only reason I came tonight is that the last time this happened, I did bring it up to the mayor's office by the phone number, and they were very, amenable to talk about it, but the service did actually not come after we talked about it, so.
So I'm going to give you my contact information. If they don't come tomorrow to pick up your stuff, it's still there at the curb? Yep. Leave it out. They'll come tomorrow. If they don't come, I want you to reach out to me, and I'll make sure that we pick it up for you. Okay?
If all that fails, I got a pickup truck, I'm coming for it.
Very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Anyone else from the public care to speak? If not, I will close the public portion. May I have a motion to enter into executive session?
Second.
All in favor? For members of the public, please note that there may be formal action taken at the conclusion of this executive session.
Whereas the Open Public Meeting Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231 permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, and whereas the governing body wishes to discuss litigation, legal reports, minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving the confidentiality of the above no longer requires that confidentiality, then the minutes can be made public. Now therefore be it resolved that the public be excluded from this meeting.
What's an executive?
Pause it, I guess. Pause it and then.
Let's go.
Hold on, let's not lose control here. She's got to call the roll. Come-
On roll call, do we have council members Ballasteri? Yes. Fakori? Yes. Fasolo? No. Golovec? Yes. Pellegrin? Yes. Council President Wetchler?
Yes.
Mayor Coletti?
Here, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor? Sayonara.